Hi, good afternoon. Oh, what a nice looking bunch of people here today. I had to dig a tie out of my closet because I never wear ties, so it's an important day. Welcome everybody to the library as we kind of honor veterans. We move it a few days ahead of Veterans Day because there's so much going on, and it's just, I celebrate it all the time, I think, but this is a kind of special day today for us at the library. Kansas is celebrating its 150th anniversary this year. It's about over. When we were getting ready to celebrate its 80th birthday, the news of the world was kind of dark. We had just begun to pull out of some real hard times, right on by the Great Depression. And by Christmas Day, 1941, Kansas and the entire world was at war. It's hard to believe this is the 70th anniversary this December of Pearl Harbor. The battle that began was one where the future of my generation and generations following was at stake. We really want to thank and honor the men and the women, the children of the veterans, girls left behind, anybody who participated and want to celebrate all of that going on here today. Today our thoughts also want to go out, be really remiss if we forgot the men and women who are currently serving in our military. And we especially remember those who are on active duty over in the Middle East or anywhere in our world right now. Looked up on the state of Kansas's website, and the number that they put on there is we've had 10,000 native Kansans serve either in Iraq or Afghanistan since 2002. And also, we would be remiss if we didn't remember just a little way that same website says that 74 Kansans have given their lives over there. So we need to remember that as well. Today, to recognize the veterans, what we're going to do is on the piano, we're going to play kind of a little blurb of a song you might recognize. It's going to be your service song. And as your song is played, if you can stand up and wave. If you can't stand up, wave your hand. If you're the wife or a child of somebody who's not here and whatever branch of service they were in, stand up and give a wave too. We want to honor you in that way with a song you probably got tired of hearing when you were in the military. They're so good songs. So I'll
Stand by, Kansans. It's almost time for Mail Call, your favorite radio show honoring our country's servicemen and women. Each show, we honor a different group And this afternoon, we salute those who served in World War II. To get us started, we remember the events at Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Here's our own Dave Coleman with the story of Private Lester Buckley.
Yeah, I was there. It was a beautiful, sleepy Sunday morning, 3 weeks before Christmas. I had duty that day, washing windows on base, and I was kind of upset because I would have rather spent the day drinking a few beers at the Waikiki Tavern and sitting by the beach. Well, those plans were soon changed courtesy of the Japanese Air Force. I was tossed out of bed by a terrific noise and bomb blast. I got up and looked out the window and saw flames and smoke 500 feet high coming out of Pearl Harbor. Someone yelled that they were Japanese planes, but we couldn't believe it until we looked at the sky and it was plain to see them. As we ran safely from one shelter to the next, bullets were flying over our heads. The Japanese planes were no more than 50 feet off the ground. We soon collected our senses and realized that the war was on. And I could still not forget what I saw. There were ships sinking in the harbor, and it looked like every ship on what was called Battleship Row was on fire. Many of the men were oil-soaked and half-clothed, and they all had a dazed and confused look. Their faces seemed to say to us that this can be happening to us, not to me, not on a Sunday morning in Hawaii. That attack lasted for nearly 2 hours, and my life was changed.
This attack changed the life of our country. Our favorite singer, Rob Banks, reminds us of the patriotic fervor which followed the attack.
This is my country, land of my birth. This is my country, grandest on earth. I pledge thee my allegiance, America the bold, for this is my country to have and to hold.
You know, Rob, a lot of young men enlisted right after that attack, and it would be a long time before many of them saw their friends and loved ones again.
That's right, Charity. But you know, they kept their loved ones in their heart. Cathedral bells were tolling, and our hearts sang on. Was it the spell of Paris, or the April dawn? Who knows if we shall meet again? But when the morning chimes ring sweet again, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that my heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut trees, the wishing well. I
they raised money to support the war was through the sale of war bonds.
The tall man in the high hat and the whiskers on his chin will soon be knocking at your door, and you ought to be in. The tall man in the high hat will be coming down your way. Get your savings out when you hear him shout, "Any bonds today? Any bonds today? Bonds of freedom, that's what I'm selling. Any bonds today? Scrape up the most you can. Here comes the freedom man, asking you to buy a share of freedom today. Any stamps today? We'll be blessed if we all invest in the USA. Here comes the freedom man. Can't make tomorrow's plan, not unless you buy a share of freedom today. First came the Czechs, and then came the Poles, and then the Norwegians with 3 million souls. Then came the Dutch, and the Belgians and France, then all of the Balkans with hardly a chance. It's all in the book, if you only look, it's there if you read the text. They fell, everyone, at the point of a gun. America mustn't be next. Any bonds today? All you give will be spent to live in the Yankee way. Scrape up the most you can. Here comes the freedom man, asking you to buy a share of freedom today.
Thank you, Rob. The next songs on today's program have to do with how our country's performers helped keep morale strong by providing stage door canteens where soldiers and sailors could come to dance with pretty girls and hear some of the biggest stars in the show business. Dave Coleman now shares a remembrance of the stage door canteen.
Where could you go to see stars like Helen Hayes serve sandwiches, or Marlene Dietrich pick up dirty dishes? Or to do the Jitterbug with Lauren McCall and listen to Bing Crosby croon the night away. The Stage Door Canteen in New York City was the place to be. Thousands of troops came to the theater while waiting to head off to the war. And there they were entertained and fed for free. And nothing was too good for these men in uniform. The stars would mingle and entertain the troops on this famous New York landmark located at Times Square. Activities like stage door canteen, USO shows, and other things, sports, kept morale of the troops high. During the peak action of 1945, USO camp shows were presenting an amazing 700 shows a day throughout the world, with more than 300,000 performances overseas and in the United States. From 1941 to 1947, more than 7,000 performers put on 428,521 shows of all kinds.
So now it's time to find your gal and dance the night away to Moonlight Serenade.
I stand at your gate, and the song that I sing is of moonlight. I stand and I wait for the touch of your hand in the June night. The roses are sighing, a moonlight serenade. The stars are aglow Yeah, Charity.
That was really lovely. But how about something a little more up-tempo?
I've got just the thing for you. Listen for that whistle. On me, boy, is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? Track 29. Boy, can you give me a shine? I can afford to board the Chattanooga choo-choo. I've got my fare and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore. Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle blow, take to the bar. Then you know that Tennessee is not very far. Show 'em all the calling, you gotta keep it rolling. Woo woo, Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a certain party at the station, Saturday place. I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home?
That was great. But you know, every good thing has to come to an end sometime. So our time at the Stage Door Canteen is coming to a close.
We gotta get these girls home for curfew, you know.
Don't want to get in trouble.
That's right. Well, darling, here we are again. We've danced the whole night away. The stars have faded and the moon is on the wane. I guess it's time to say good night, sweet dreams. Tomorrow's another day. Till then, sweet dreams, sweetheart. Good night, sleep tight. I'll see you along the way in dreams, sweetheart. May angels up above watch over you and keep you safe, my love, until the dawn breaks through. Good night, sweet dreams. Tomorrow's another day. Good night, sweet dreams, sweetheart.
You know, another pivotal moment in World War II was D-Day and the landing on Normandy beaches, June 6, 1944. We now share the memories of Private Fred Keckner. After years of waiting, guessing, and worrying, the first official word that the Allies had invaded Europe was near an anticlimax. In a restrained 26-word statement, Supreme Allied Headquarters announced the most significant war news since the attack on Pearl Harbor. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.
Years later, I had an opportunity to be at dinner with my great uncle Fred. Happened to be a day or two after the 50th anniversary of D-Day in June 1994. A lot of his buddies had paid money and gone over to France to celebrate the event. Typically, my uncle didn't attend. I don't ever remember him talking much about any of the experiences he had as an infantryman on that historic day. He preferred to keep quiet about it all. But on this day for him, he was kind of talkative. And so I brought up the Normandy invasion to him over a cup of coffee. And this is the conversation. So Fred, you were in Normandy, right? Yep, I was. You were in the infantry, right, Uncle Fred? Oh yeah, there's a lot of us there that day. I was wondering, Fred, if you think that our country could pull something like that off again. It's quite an invasion. Fred simply said, different time, not likely. He was a very quiet guy, obviously, and I asked my Aunt Marilyn about the conversation later, and she said, you know, your uncle doesn't talk about that war at all. And in fact, that's probably one of the few times he's ever spoken about that war. He just said some things people just don't like to talk about. So I felt really blessed and fortunate that day to have him share those 50 or 60 words about that day. D-Day was an incredible day, and we remember that day as the day that turned the tide for our country, for our nation, for our world.
So Rob, how about a song from the soldier's point of view as he remembers the girl he left behind?
Stand there just a moment, darling, let me catch my breath. I've never seen a picture quite so lovely. How did you ever learn to look so lovely? Moonlight becomes you, it goes with your hair. You certainly know the right thing to wear. Moonlight becomes you, I'm thrilled at the sight, and I could get so romantic tonight. You're all dressed up to go dreaming, now don't tell me I'm wrong. And what a night to go dreaming. Mind if I come along? If I say I love you, I want you to know it's not just because there's moonlight, although moonlight becomes you so.
You know, the soldiers overseas and their families back at home got really lonely, and never more lonely than at the holidays. Because being away from home at the holidays is hard. One very popular song during World War II was the Christmas song, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Now, Rob, I know it's not quite Christmas yet, but did you happen to bring that music today?
I did, and it happens to be a copy that my mother had when she was a child during the Second World War.
Great, let's hear it.
I'm dreaming tonight of a place I love, even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long road back, I promise you I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams.
You know, that song makes me long for home too, and I'm not nearly as far away from home as our soldiers. Rob, do you have a song that talks about some of the friendships that soldiers made with their buddies?
I sure do, Charity. I've got a song here that a buddy comes home to talk to a girlfriend. He smiled and said, I hope I'm in the right place. Then saw that puzzled look appear on her face. He added with a bashful smile, may we sit down and chat for just a while? I came here to talk for Joe. He wants me to let you know he can't keep a date with you tonight. I came here to talk for Joe. Gee, that kid sure loves you so. And when he gets the chance, he said he'd write. That boy has so much courage. I've seen the things he can do, but he never had the courage to tell you how he feels about you. He's got talking of Joe, because you'll never know how much I love Joe. And even after he had gone, those thrilling words we'd said went on and on. I came here to talk for Joe. He wants me to let you know he can't keep the date with you tonight. I came here to talk for Joe. Gee, that kid sure loves you so. And when he gets the chance, he said he'd write. That boy has so much courage. I've seen the things he can do, but he never had the courage to tell you how he feels about you. He's got a perfect alibi. He can't be here and in the sky. So I came here to talk for Joe. At the end of the war, it took some time for everyone to come home, but when they did, relationships had to be rebuilt. The waiting and longing to see each other again were now over. Now Charity tells us Stella Suberman's story.
My husband, Jack, flew B-29s in the Pacific near the end of 1944 until the end of the war in 1945. His brother Harvey had died, and my other brother Bill was listed as missing in action. I lived from letter to letter. Believe me, news was scarce. So when Jack wrote, I trembled and opened each letter half fearful and half joyful. Jack's letters were cheery and always written after a successful mission. Then in December of 1944 came a day when I felt danger so strongly I almost stopped breathing. It happened on an ordinary day. I happened to be walking downtown. I gave a quick glance to the news machine across which a tape was running. One headline read, "Military reporting a near 100% turnover in B-29s." There were no other details, and of course my imagination ran wild. I did my best to stay busy and remain hopeful, but you cannot imagine the worry I went through. I did not know if Jack was dead, a prisoner of war, in a hospital somewhere, or just what. All I could do was wait for news. Well, the war was winding down. The news of the end of the war in Europe was broadcast. I waited for my own personal news, which was going to change my life. Well, it finally came. Not by letter, and not by telegraph. It came by phone. And the telephone call did not come from some faraway place like China or India or Hawaii. It came from an Air Force base in California. Jack was home, and would be really home in about 1 week, safe and sound. I trembled and shouted for joy. You know, amazingly, what I remember the most was on the radio the moment I hung up from that phone call was a song sung by Bing Crosby. It's been a long, long time. It seemed that that song was written just for me. Jack had served his time, and like so many others, was sent home.
Never thought that you would be standing here so close to me. There's so much that I feel that I should say. then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I've dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seemed without you. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seemed without you. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time.
Now, even when a soldier or sailor didn't have that girl at home to come home to, he was on the lookout, especially as the war started coming to a close. And he longed for a settled life after the war. And that is what is featured in our next song.
You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire, while the breeze on high sang a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire, under stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love. You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire, while the breeze on high sang a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire, under stars chilled by the winter, under the August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love.
Well, folks, we're getting close to the end of our time together today. So before we do our final number, we need to thank all of the people who have helped out today. We have Dave Coleman, Rob Banks, Nancy Epic on piano, and I'm Charity Rouse. So thanks for listening to Mail Call today. Feel free to stand as you're able and join in on the chorus of our final song, which will be God Bless America. Stand as you're able.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie,
Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of our Veterans Day celebration opportunities. Please stop by the gallery and see Call of Duty, Kansans in World War II if you have not had the opportunity. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for serving.